On June 21st and 22nd, I got to go on a tiger cruise with my son-in-law, Brandon Hood, where I got to see him doing his chaplaincy work and see the ship where he'll be doing that ministry in the coming deployment. It's the destroyer Oscar Austin. Enjoy the pictures and the videos. We pulled out of the Yorktown and headed down the York River, passing the Yorktown battlefield as we went, and then out through Hampton Roads and out into the Chesapeake Bay and into the ocean. I got to see Chaplain Hood's quarters, where he'll be these coming months. Tight quarters, but good quarters. He'll be there with 2 other guys, and he'll be in the top of 3 bunks. He also showed me his office. Small space, but a good space, with computer and books to hand out and 1 chair to do some counseling. The harbor boat came to pick up the harbor pilot who had guided us out of the harbor, and so we got to see him depart across the gangplank. And while we were out, one of our sister destroyers passed nearby so we could see how we looked to them. This is an airlock door in many passages, preventing poison gas, and here's the engine room with one of the turbo diesel engines. There are the fuel filters. There are many of those, the oil filters, and here's the drive shaft for one of the propellers. Quite a sight to see. We stood astern and had some amazing sights as we saw the ship crossing the beautiful Atlantic Ocean, making a wake. Then they had a picnic for us back there on the back deck. They call it a Steel Beach picnic, and all the crew came for hot hamburgers and hot dogs. That was great fun. Then they cranked the ship up to top speed, and the waters were really churning as we went up to 36 or 37 miles an hour. And there you see the wake coming out from the side of the ship. We headed up to the bridge where we had to have earplugs in for the demonstration of the 5-inch gun as it fired its shell and gave us quite a thump, even hearing it sounding in our chest. There are the cartridges of these 5-inch diameter shells. Ship's also equipped with Gatling guns and a 50 caliber machine gun that I got to shoot, and there I have just shot, and then Chaplain Hood stepped outside his usual role and fired the machine gun. It was great fun to get to do that. Here's a view from the control room overlooking the rear deck and its helicopter landing space with some of the gauges that show how the boat is doing so they can describe that to the landing helicopters. And on the second day, they assembled the crew on the rear deck for award ceremonies. There's Captain Washington awarding one of the promotions. And here's Chaplain Hood holding forth in his classroom and some of the exercise equipment that they have to keep in shape. We were privileged to have a flyover by an E-2, and then we headed back into Hampton Roads, passing over the tunnel. There's Fort Monroe on the west side as we pass over the tunnel, and a tugboat accompanying us as we went in. Some of the other ships there at harbor in the naval station, and a couple of submarines in the dock there. And then we pulled up to our own berth, and they tossed across the lead line so that the stevedores could pull up the docking ropes and hook us safely to the pier. It was all great fun and a privilege to be along for the ride.